It's been a wonderful second day. Again, great presentations by all of our presenters. I really appreciate everyone on behalf of TU and our chapters and our partners bringing your talents and research and sharing them with all of us. We really appreciate it. I wanted to close with just one last tidbit about your TU Dare program. And it follows on nicely some of the content that was covered today, talking about the programs that are available for doing these types of projects on the ground. And so one of the programs that we have renewed with NRCS is our Driftless Area Habitat for the Wild and Rare Regional Conservation Partners Program, a huge mouthload full of acronyms, which uses the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, or EQIP, to do those practices like you saw in the video discussed by Todd Mao, that you also saw in our other presentations today with Gorman Creek, and talking about the types of shaping activities, replanting with native grasses, being able to install some of those habitat features. Those are all practices that are part of this cost sharing program. So Trout Unlimited has renewed that program, and for the next 4.5 years, there'll be roughly $1 million for each state to be able to have landowners sign up for contracts doing these practices on this timeline. Typically, the signups are in the spring and the fall. The signups for Wisconsin and Minnesota will be happening this spring. Iowa's next round will be in the fall. I haven't heard yet on the Illinois round for this year, but these typically will pay about 75% of the project costs. So if you were noting the conversation again with Todd and with Tim, the NRCS share of the project then ends up being around 75% of what the project will cost. And the remainder can be coming from the landowner themselves, from grants, from donations, a lot of different ways to be able to get that work done on the ground. And it can include not only the in-stream habitat, but also some of those other practices like the riparian buffers, some of the gullying or grade stabilization practices that are needed to work a little bit out from the stream corridor to do stabilization. Really a whole host of tools that we have available through that program. And Trout Unlimited can manage that project on behalf of the landowner if that's desired. So a lot of our landowner cooperators are active farmers. They may not have the time to take on managing a large stream restoration project. So that is something we're able to do in cooperation with landowners. So if you are, if your chapter is, or your conservation group is wanting to figure out how to get started with this process, if a landowner is open to considering habitat project, there's a 9-step planning process naturally with NRCS, which starts out with actually doing a property walkover with that landowner, and you're identifying problems, opportunities for improvement, hearing what the landowner's objectives are for a project. You may also be making note of the resources that are on that property, any wetlands, forests, existing habitats, also things that might be impairing habitats like discharge pipes, tile lines, gullies that are coming in, things of that nature. The second, I guess, set of steps for this project is to conduct the inventory and design work that happens mainly in the office after surveying and field data are collected. You're formulating some of the alternatives and putting together a list of potential practices that might help address those resource concerns that were identified. And you maybe have a few different sets of practices that you would take back and discuss with the landowner that affect everything from how large a scale a project would be to the overall cost of a project. And they may choose to do something in phases, or to target specific practices that are of highest priority to them. Once you've made some decisions with the landowner and the partners, you can implement the plan, which we're showing here, get the things put into the ground. And then when the project is installed, then the checkout process with NRCS is to evaluate how the project was installed, if it met all of the specs and requirements, met all the permit obligations, and make sure that the landowner understands their requirements to maintain the practice into the future. A lot of these landowners do have easements, as was noted in a number of the prior talks, and so that really helps. They've already sort of set aside these areas to be used for habitat, for protecting water quality, and for recreational access. And so they're understanding the obligation and maintenance that would be needed in these areas. Beyond what NRCS requires, TU Dare and our partners, Dusty touched on this, with Minnesota, with Wisconsin, we like to do follow-up biological monitoring that actually identifies, the performance of the practices that were installed and helps us really show landowners what they achieved from making these projects happen. We, again, also at TU, we are often looking for contributions to help defray the costs to landowners who are offering an easement, they're offering land, they're looking to do a conservation project. We're wanting to help make that affordable for them, so it's not competing with their objectives of being able to run a farm business. And then another thing that I think our chapters in particular have done a really great job is spearheading landowner appreciation days, so that not only are landowners' contributions recognized by the community, and you get those community members out there to access the streams, to get the kids out there like Todd and Tim were talking about. You also get the opportunity to show off to the neighbors and the community the kinds of things that can be done. And that's the way that these projects can propagate farther into a watershed. And those are some of the most powerful projects, are ones where you plant a seed in one landowner's location and they really help sell that project to the other landowners nearby. So it's been a great program. It's why we're doing another 5 years worth of investment in that program. And anyone can meet with a landowner and start off this process. So if you have projects in mind, places where you'd like to investigate whether there's an eligible project that can be done, please reach out to myself or Peter or Paul, and we can get the ball rolling. So with that, I want to thank everyone for attending this year. It's been a real pleasure to be able to host this symposium. I want to thank our National Fish Habitat Partnership, the Driftless Area Restoration Effort. The Fish and Wildlife Service has been very gracious in supporting us over the years. And our main partners, we have 200 if you saw our slides yesterday, so more than we can thank individually, but this is a partnership effort that achieves these great successes because we have so many collaborators that are willing to work with us. So really appreciate you all and hope to see you all next year. Thanks so much.